We're comparing Singapore Airlines and KLM's premium economy class to see which one is better. We tried both airlines on a long-haul flight from Europe to Southeast Asia, and yes, we found some differences. With KLM, we flew from Amsterdam to Bangkok in their Boeing 777, and with Singapore Airlines, we flew from Brussels to Singapore on their A350. We'll be facing off both airlines in these 5 categories: seat, amenities, food, service, and finally, price value. And at the end of the video, we tell you which airline's premium economy is the overall winner. Let's begin, and we're starting with our first category, seats. And we're starting with Singapore Airlines. Their premium economy is a separate 3-row cabin in between business and economy, and the seats are configured in a 2-for-2 setup. The seat itself is made out of grey leather and comes with an adjustable headrest, a reading light, a USB charger, a regular charger, and a footrest. Inside the armrest, you'll find a pull-out table, and if you take a closer look at the armrest, you can see that the seat already shows some wear and tear. Finally, the seat also comes with support for your calves, and of course, you can recline backwards. The recline in itself is pretty good, and instead of the seat only going backwards, the seat itself slides forwards too. This is great news for the person sitting behind you, but it makes it impossible for your neighbor to get out of their seat if you're fully reclined. The legroom is very decent, especially when the person in front of you is sitting upright. Although, weirdly enough, the legroom is not very wide, as the setup of the seats takes up a lot of space. We sat in the last row, so we made use of the space behind our seat to store our shoes. For your other belongings, as usual, you'll find a seat pocket on the seat in front of you, and there's also a dedicated space for your water. Now, let's take a look at KLM seats. KLM has a similar 3-row cabin setup with a 2-for-2 configuration, although this one comes with an awkward little window to look at the people traveling in economy. No worries though, they close it during the flight. The seats are very similar to the ones from Singapore Airlines, but a notable difference is that KLM seats are made out of fabric instead of leather. As expected, there's also an adjustable headrest, a reading light, and a split table inside the armrest. To alleviate your legs, there's also a calf rest and a footrest. With KLM, you'll find a bottle holder integrated into the seat, as well as a USB charger. In front of you, there's a regular charger and also a double seat pocket. In terms of recline, these seats definitely do go backwards, but again, the recline is about halfway to being comfortable enough to sleep. The legroom is decent when sitting upright, but with the person in front of you reclined, it definitely narrows it down a lot, with again almost no room to let the person next to you pass. Both premium seats are very similar in width and recline. They're both comfortable to sit in, have basically the same features, and getting in and out of either seat is definitely a challenge, and possibly an evacuation hazard. Overall, the winner has to come down to the small details. The KLM seat feels bulkier, but it does offer more storage, plus a handy split table. And that's why this category will go to KLM. Moving on to amenities. When you board the plane of Singapore Airlines, you'll find a standard blanket and a nice thick orange pillow waiting on your seat.
Super comfy pillow.
You can get an amenity kit on request, and it comes in the form of a toiletry bag made out of recycled paper. There's no toothbrush included, but these are available in the lavatory. Speaking of, there are no premium economy specific toilets, so you have to use the ones in the back of economy, which is indicated by this sign. Finally, as for entertainment, there's a 13.3-inch screen that comes with a handy remote and a very extensive library. There are also noise-cancelling headphones, but to be honest, they do not cancel out any noise. Is it us, or do airlines nowadays just buy cheap headphones and slap the words noise cancelling on them, hoping no one notices? Let us know in the comments if you think so too. Let's have a look at KLM's amenities. When you enter the plane, there's a plain white pillow waiting for you and a thick blanket that they also use in business class. As for the amenity kit, you get a mesh laundry bag that's filled with a pen, toothpaste tablets, earplugs, a toothbrush, and a sleeping mask. In case you need to use the lavatory, you have to use the ones back in economy, which is indicated by this sign and by the business class flight attendant, who will announce very loudly through the cabin and not to use theirs at the beginning of the flight. As for the in-flight entertainment system, the screen is the same size of the one at Singapore Airlines with 13.3 inches wide, and KLM offers a decent selection of options. Although, we have to say, the system was a bit laggy now and then. You're also provided with noise-cancelling headphones that, similar to Singapore Airlines, do not cancel a lot of noise. Let's go to the scores. Both amenity kits are pretty similar, with the one from KLM being more practical in life after the flight. However, the in-flight entertainment system of Singapore Airlines was more extensive and easier to control with a separate remote. Singapore Airlines definitely offers the better pillow, but then again, KLM's business class blanket was more comfortable. They both have some positive points and some negatives, and that's why this one is a draw. Time to move on to our favorite category, food. But before we do, just a quick reminder that if you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to subscribe to us for more planes, trains, and travel reviews. Now, let's dive into the food. Singapore Airlines' in-flight menu comes with a picture of vegetables, probably to convince you that the food is fresh. Inside, you'll find a list of the food that will be served during the flight, including what snacks you can get if you get hungry in between meal service, and the drinks that are available. If you want, you can also pre-select your meal on the app before check-in opens. Overall, the food did not disappoint. We really enjoyed the lunch options. Smoked salmon is a bit of an odd choice on an airplane, but I have to say we did both enjoy it, and the steamed chicken and beef and cream sauce with potato gratin were also very nice. At the end of the flight, we had breakfast and got the egg frittata with sausage and the pancakes. Both were again very tasty, but the pancakes aren't very filling, so keep that in mind. Now let's take a look at what KLM offers. Once you're on board, they'll hand you an in-flight menu with the drink options and also the upcoming meals. Visually speaking, the first meal looked very appealing, and the chicken main course and salad were very tasty, although the blue cheese mixture was divisive. The breakfast meal, however, was unanimously bad. It wasn't so much a meal, rather than chicken and cheese slices that you had to turn into a sandwich yourself. But that's not even the worst part. The egg that came served in a bowl was truly awful. It tasted like grainy egg-flavored cardboard, and I'm just going to say it, they're losing points for this because eggs are not that hard to do right. So we're going to keep the conclusion short. The very unsurprising winner in the food category is Singapore Airlines. Like the menu suggested, their food was indeed fresh, and they seem to gear more towards an international audience, whereas KLM seems to remain very cheese-focused. Let's compare the service of each airline. Both airlines offer a dedicated check-in desk for premium economy passengers, and luggage is tagged as priority. So with both KLM and Singapore Airlines, you'll be among the first to retrieve your bags. With Singapore Airlines, you're entitled to 35 kilograms of check-in luggage that can be divided onto how many bags you want, except for flights to and from the USA and Canada, where you can take 2 bags of maximum 23 kilos. With KLM, you're allowed nothing, because they've introduced a premium light fare and that comes with hand luggage only. But if you book their standard fare, you can take 2 pieces of 23 kilos each. As for lounge access, this is not included with either airline, and the difference is really made on board. Both airlines welcome you with a welcome towel. KLM's one is a pre-packed cold towel, and Singapore Airlines welcomes you with a warm hand towel. Does that say something about the service? Maybe. As for the service on board, you can tell that KLM is Dutch, and it shows in the airline's approach to service. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but Singapore Airlines just seems to be more mindful of their soft product, and we found the flight attendants to be a little friendlier and more attentive. Based on the service on board and the fact that Singapore Airlines allows check-in luggage, they are the clear winner of this category. Finally, let's take a look at price value. Since we've flown both airlines on a similar but not on the exact same route, we have to make it a fair comparison. So let's take a look at the premium economy ticket price for a return trip from Amsterdam to Singapore. Prices fluctuate a lot, but if we look at a few dates in September, KLM seems to come in a little cheaper than Singapore Airlines. However, Singapore Airlines does include check-in luggage, and then there's the seat selection situation. With Singapore Airlines, seat selection is free when you're booking the flight, except if you want to sit up front, as those seats do cost extra. As for KLM, you can only select a seat for free during check-in, and before that it costs a staggering 55 euros per seat. In our opinion, premium economy for both airlines is priced too high for what you get in return. While yes, this seat is more comfortable and the cabin is smaller, the benefits don't justify its price point of being 2.5 times as expensive as a regular economy ticket. And if you're comfortable enough to spend a large sum of money on your flight, you might as well just go for business class. So this one was close to a draw, but we still give it to Singapore Airlines, because at least their price is all-inclusive and you really should have free seat selection in a premium cabin. If we add up the scores, we have 1 draw, 1 win for KLM, and 3 wins for Singapore Airlines. And that makes Singapore Airlines the winner of this premium economy showdown. Singapore Airlines is ranked as one of the best airlines in the world, and it's really hard to compete with their level of service and onboard experience. And even then you can see that they still have points of improvement. KLM's premium economy was not a bad experience, but you can tell that their business strategy has been leaning more towards low-cost carrier levels of upselling, rather than focusing on the overall experience of their product. Do you agree that Singapore Airlines is the clear winner here? Let us know in the comments below. Also, we've made full reviews of both flights, so be sure to check those out if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!